Hey guys, this is Katie with Vintage and Vinyl, back with another great video for you today. And in this video, we are talking all about vintage ephemera. But before we jump into sharing my favorite pieces from my own personal collection, I want to make a special announcement here for all of you guys on YouTube. I now have a Vintage and Vinyl Facebook group, so come join the family on Facebook. It's Vintage and Vinyl Treasure Hunters, and you can share your latest and greatest finds. We'll be talking vintage and sharing records and all kinds of fun stuff. So you want to go check out the Facebook group. I'll leave the link to all of my social medias down below, so you can follow me on Facebook and of course on Instagram, where I share a sneak peek of all kinds of fun things yet to come. Alright, so let's talk about vintage ephemera. What is vintage ephemera? What does the word ephemera mean? Well, ephemera comes from the word ephemeral, which means only lasting a short time. So ephemera basically was things that were made to only be around for a specific time period, like vintage concert tickets or old maps or coupons or advertising booklets that might have come with an appliance. All of those things are great examples of vintage ephemera. So I'm going to show you some of my favorite pieces from my own personal collection. I have my great-grandmother's bowl on my table, antique bowl, and I fill it with all kinds of fun ephemera, and it's a really neat conversation piece for people that come by and sit at my coffee table. So I'm going to show you some of my favorite pieces today. Now, I won't have time to go through all the details of every single one, but I'll do my best, and we can do a deeper dive in the future on some of these pieces. Now, the first piece I'd like to share with you today is a really fun. Now, you guys know I love my vintage Coca-Cola, and I collect Coca-Cola advertising, so I'm going to share a really neat piece. This is a Coca-Cola drip bottle protector. Now, these would have gone on bottles to protect, you know, dripping and sweating and just kind of slide over as a sleeve. But it's amazing that these things still survive because they are razor thin. I mean, just super thin. But they have really cool graphics. Now, I have several of these framed, and this is one of the ones I've kept out in my ephemera bowl, and I just love it. It says quality carries on, and it's Coca-Cola. And of course, you see it's got an opening here for the Coca-Cola bottle. This one, let me see if there's a date. This one's dated 1932. So this is from the 30s, and it's a really, really cool piece of ephemera. Now, the next piece of ephemera, I believe I got from Debbie at RVAGABOND Travel. She sent this to me in some friend mail, and I adore it. This is from a green stamp book. I believe this is probably 1950s or 1960s, just based on the graphics. That is really the best way to date ephemera, is to just look at the graphics if there's not a date on it, and also looking at advertising slogans to see when they might have been used, particularly in Coca-Cola advertising. You can also check to see if there's a zip code on old maps or that kind of thing. Some ephemera would have the company's address, and if there's no zip code, you know it has to be before 1963, because that is when large 5-digit zip codes started being used on all kinds of products. Now, of course, in the 40s, they did have 2-digit zip codes for large cities, so think like New York and LA, but they never had 5-digit zip codes until 1963. And then, of course, the UPC and barcodes came out in 1973, so if something has a barcode on it, then you know that's definitely past the 70s. Okay, so let's take a look at this piece. This is a green stamp piece, and look at the graphics on that. She is just fabulous. I love the movie on the back here, the little movie projector. This is green stamps, and it says something for everybody. And look how cute those little boys are. And then if you flip it around, it opens up, and it says better light means better sight. With S and H green stamps, you can get beautiful lamps to light up your life. And then you can fill the page with the green stamps. Now, isn't that cool? I believe this is from 1950 or so, just judging on the graphics. Again, there's no particular date on this, but I just think this is so cool. Love this little piece of ephemera. Now, the next piece I have is really cool. This is a Coca-Cola advertising piece. I believe it to be from the 1940s. Now, this is a Coca-Cola bottle, and on the back, it basically is a coupon for you to receive a free bottle of Coca-Cola from the Springfield Coca-Cola bottling plant. And of course, Coca-Cola was the master at giving away all kinds of freebies and gifts related to certain bottling plants. So this is a really neat piece to find. I love this. Now, a few months ago, I went to my local antique store when they had nobody in there, and it was really early in the morning, and I was lucky to pick this up. This was the day you guys were doing the shop along with me live from Fans and Stoves. I got this for about $3. I couldn't believe it. This is a Missouri highway map, and it has Standard Oil featured on the front. Compliments of Standard Oil, Indiana. Look at that old car on there. Is this not absolutely amazing? Now, what's super cool is I love the Standard Oil sign, and there actually is a Standard Oil sign left in St. Louis in the Del Mar Loop. You can go visit it. I've seen it, and it is really, really neat. So, of course, I had to have this because I've got family from Missouri, and I just think the graphics are absolutely amazing. I love these old maps, even though I can't really read a map. I'm not good at directions, but I love the whole idea of the vintage maps, and these are fun framed. I've seen people do some very cool things with old maps and frames, but this opens up. They're a nice size, and the map keys on these old maps are really fun to take a look at. So I just love this. Really cool pickup, and of course you gotta love those vintage graphics. Now, this piece came with a brownie camera that I picked up after I watched the deep dive with Trusty, Huckster, Mercantile, and George at the Antique Nomad. He made me really interested in cameras. So, of course, I had to go out and get a brownie camera for myself, and this came with it. Now, I'm assuming this is probably from the 20s or 30s, and this is a really, really cool little booklet for the brownie camera. Look at that Art Deco front on that camera. Is that not amazing? Now, this has outdoor exposure guide and all kinds of things about Kodak. Look at the old building in there. This is just a very cool booklet, and then it's got all your exposure times right on the back. So this is a very cool book. There is probably, let's see, there's 30 pages. This is Eastman Kodak Company out of Rochester, New York, and I just love this. So you could spend a lot of time reading this one little book. Now, I've shared this before in my vintage games video I did, but I just love this piece. I found this in our Sorry game that was my mom's from the 1950s, and this is Fun with Your Family, Parker Games. This is a very cool advertisement for Parker Games. I mean, look at the graphics on this. How awesome is that? This family is having a grand old time playing games, and it says games for everyone and every age. Just adore this piece. And then if you open it up, it opens up to a page here with all the different games, and then you open it up again and there's even more games. So look at all the fun you can have with Parker Games. I tell you, one of my favorite games that I would love to find just because of the graphics is that touring game up at the top. Look how cool that is. I just love this. And of course, here's the Sorry game that we have. And I think this is spectacular. So this is definitely something gold. Now, these two pieces are fun Coca-Cola advertising pieces. They're little booklets. Now, I have two of them. This one says Drink Coca-Cola in Bottles, and it's the Coca-Cola crate. Now, the yellow crates typically are older than the red crates, as far as I know. So I'm not exactly sure when this piece would be from, but just using my judgment because the yellow crate, I would say 1940s or so. But the graphics, though, are very 50s. So I'm not 100% sure, but I love this piece. I think it is very cool. This was a free handout at a local bottling plant. So it says, we hope you have a pleasant time with us and that when you refresh at home or anywhere, you think of Coca-Cola being the highest quality, bottled under conditions of rigid sanitation and quality control. And we sincerely glad you came, and we hope you'll come again. So you would have gotten this piece when you toured a Coca-Cola bottling plant. So this is very cool. There's all different graphics. I'll post a more up close image of all the graphics. If you're following me on Instagram, I'll share. Some of my favorites are these people here. I just think that they're so cool. So one of the sides has all these different images of people enjoying Coke and all the places you can enjoy Coke. You know, you've got your football game, bowling alley. These people are at a party. They're shopping, I think, having, you know, Coke with the television. They're really cool. And then on the other side, it tells you about how they make the Coke. So here's the washer. You know, it's all the steps in which they made Coca-Cola. So very cool. And I have the same version of it, but in a Coca-Cola bottle. And it goes through all of the steps, and it's got the different people doing different things. So it's kind of flip-sided there. You can flip it around and see all the different things, and then it rotates like this when you go through it, sort of like a little booklet. It's just very cool. These are fun pieces, and I don't see these come up very often on eBay, but I love, love, love these pieces here. Another Coca-Cola advertising piece, because I just can't get enough Coca-Cola, is an ink blotter. And this is from 1957. It's 58 million a day, sign of good taste, litho Coca-Cola ink blotter. So this is fun. There's several variations of these Coca-Cola ink blotters out there. This is one of the most common ones. You can pick up for around $4 online. And I just love this. And it's nice that it's dated on the bottom, 1957, but it compares the amount of Coca-Cola sales to, I think, the tallest buildings in the world. Yeah, 58 million bottles sold equals to 7.94 thousand miles. And then it's got the different buildings. And I love that it has the Empire State Building on it, because I love all things New York. So this is a really, really fun piece. Now, I have more maps. Now, I really am not good at directions, as I mentioned, so normally I wouldn't be drawn to maps, but anything with old graphics I'm totally attracted to. And this piece was super fun because it's a local piece for Florida, and there was a gentleman here that used to own a series of gas stations, and he was getting rid of all of his things that he sold in the gas stations years and years ago. So he had like boxes of all kinds of things from the gas station, and one of the things he had was a whole bunch of new old stock maps from 1953. And this is very cool. This is a Florida Phillips 66 map, and I just love the graphics on this. And of course, I'm from Florida, so this is a neat local piece for me. It says, help prevent forest fires, Phillips Petroleum Company out of Bartsville, Oklahoma. And then the graphics on the inside are really cool. And our local salvage yard had a whole bunch of these available, so I was able to get them. Look at the graphics here. This one says, traffic rules. And then it's got the guy driving the car, and then you've got all of the traffic rules on the bottom. And then it's also got a really cool map key. And here's some West Palm Beach and other areas in Florida. How awesome is that? Now let me show you the map key, because I think that's really cool and vintage looking. Now I personally wouldn't do anything with these pieces of ephemera. I know a lot of people like to junk journal with them and create different assemblages, but I'm more of a purist. I like to collect things just for the graphics. So these will probably stay in my ephemera bowl, but they're really, really fun pieces to have. And when you can find them for a couple of bucks, it's just so worth the pickup. Now I've got more Coca-Cola, because if you guys don't know already, I love Coca-Cola. I'm totally addicted to Coca-Cola advertising. To me, they were just genius marketers and advertisers. I mean, some of the best graphics to me come from old Coca-Cola advertising. And this is a really neat piece from the 40s. This is a Coca-Cola score pad. It was a gift, a compliment of the Coca-Cola bottling company. And this is a bridge score pad, and I just love it. It says American Women Volunteer Service. So this was for the war. Rigidly trained at the manned nerve centers that record all of the plane operations among U.S. coasts. So this would have been, 1940 or so. Beautiful, beautiful graphics on the front. And of course, I love anything related to cards as well. And you've got this fun graphic on the top, talks all about bridge. And then the score pad has never been used. I mean, this must have been sitting in a drawer. It's just amazing. And it says, drink Coca-Cola, it's the real thing. How awesome is that on the bottom? And it's got all of the pages. I mean, all of them are still there. And then on the front, it says contract bridge score. Trick values, so clubs is 20, diamonds is 20, hearts is 30, and spades is 30. Now, I don't know a lot about bridge. I'd love to learn, but that is really, really cool. So I love this piece of ephemera. So, so awesome. Now I have another map for you. Again, going on with the maps here. This is a really cool map, probably one of my favorites, and I found this through Crafty JACKI here on YouTube. She had a live sale, and I couldn't pass this up. Now, Mobile Gas has the Pegasus, and the Pegasus is becoming more and more popular on advertising. I've been learning that through George, the Antique Nomad, and I actually have a piece of Pegasus advertising. I have an old Mobile Gas oil can with the oil can still full from 1940. So this is very cool to find another piece of Pegasus advertising. This is Mobile Gas for North Dakota and South Dakota and adjoining states. Travel a route of friendly service, and it has some really cool graphics. It's an old map. Look at the car on that. Isn't this just absolutely amazing? And then you open it up and it's got, again, just cool graphics. I mean, these old maps are just amazing. And if I had a big enough wall, I think something like this would be cool framed as well. I would never cut these up, as I mentioned, but if that's your jam, you could so do that. I mean, this would be great for junk journaling too, if you wanted. There's lots of uses for this old ephemera, whether you frame it, whether you junk journal with it, whether you preserve it in a binder. I know that Vintage Vinny has a ephemera binder that he keeps all of his ephemera in, so there's endless possibilities, and the graphics on these are just so cool. Now I've got 2 more Coca-Cola pieces, and that's going to wrap us up for now, and I'll come back with a part 2 sharing more of my ephemera. But this next piece is another bridge piece. This is from, I believe, 1950, and it says, Coca-Cola, it's so easy when you have frosty bottles of Coke in the refrigerator. And look at the graphics on this. This was, again, a giveaway from one of the bottling plants. Souvenir Bridge Digest, and it says an instant pointer to accurate bidding and in the Gordon point count. Really, really cool graphics on this. I believe this was given away by a bottling plant. Very cool graphics on the inside. So it's got your different bridge rules. And then it says serve Coca-Cola ice cold and right in the bottle. And you've got each page with a different graphic. I mean, look at that lady. Is she not fabulous? And there's all kinds. I mean, each page has a different little graphic on it, which is amazing. I love the little people here and the 6-pack of Coke. And it goes through, again, bridge rules and different things related to bridge. Oh, here's a whole bridge party. Isn't that fun? I would love to have a bridge party, wouldn't you? Wouldn't that just be so fun? So I love this. You got the hostess here serving Coke. So each page is different, and it's just a really, really neat Coca-Cola booklet that I think is so awesome. Now, the last piece of Coca-Cola ephemera that I'm going to share with you is a Coca-Cola Soda Jerk hat I got from Fatbird Finds and some friend mail, and I'll try to link everyone I've mentioned down below so you guys can go subscribe and follow them, because they all have fabulous channels and sales here on YouTube. And they sent this in some friend mail. Now, this is from 1970, I believe, but this is Have a Coke and a Smile. Coke adds life. Enjoy Coke. How awesome is this? Really, really neat little paper hat here. I love the hats. I just think they're so cool because these were made, again, to be thrown away, kind of one-use items, and it's amazing that they have survived. And this one, I have a 1950s one, but let me see. Okay, this one's made by a different company than the 50s one I have. This one's Lynn and Look Company out of New Orleans, Louisiana. But very, very cool little piece here. Love the graphics, and it's just so neat to have a little collection of these paper hats. So guys, that's all you need to know about ephemera. I hope you enjoyed seeing a little bit of my personal collection. Now, I have way more ephemera than we got a chance to look at in this video. There is lots and lots in a binder that I have that I can't wait to share with you, but we'll do that next time. And of course, I'll be back tonight for my regular live chat with you all at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So we'll be looking through some friend mail and having fun catching up. Alright guys, that's it for me this week. Hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, I hope you will stay in, stay safe, and vent YouTube. Bye-bye now.